What's your read really on the progress that has actually been made here?
I think that we continue to be locked in a pattern that, frankly, we've been locked in since the start of regulation of crypto, or attempts to regulate crypto, which is we see one position from the SEC, which is regulation by enforcement. Nowhere has it really been established what assets are considered securities and which are not. And even in the two Ripple rulings we've seen, which were not even a month apart, we have dramatically different interpretations. And again, the conclusion we come to, and I think in that clip you just showed from Mike Novogratz, who says the exact same thing, the only way that we get clarity is not through these piecemeal regulation by enforcement steps we've seen, but through clear regulatory guidance. And that, in my view, at this stage can only come from Congress. Now, you're in the swamp. You know, we're coming up on shutdown. We're coming up on an election year. Yep. There are a number of bills on the floor in Congress that are bipartisan in nature, but the clock is really running out in terms of timeline to get these things through the process.
How should the community react, or how should the community act, I guess, if we don't get clear and concise regulation from Congress? Because that seems like a really big ask, Meltem.
It is a big ask. It has been a big ask. It continues to be a big ask. I think there are two important things to keep in mind here. Number one, crypto has gone from being a small, aligned community to being a global industry with different perspectives. And frankly, companies and projects in the space might have somewhat different goals. As a result, we've seen a number of different PACs and different trade associations forming, attempting to gather resources to use their collective power to lobby and to deploy capital to getting candidates elected that are going to take action, that share their perspectives maybe on the direction that regulation and policy needs to go. So I think crypto is becoming a political powerhouse. It is an important part of the DC ecosystem. And I think in this cycle, we'll continue to see a lot of campaign contributions going from players in the crypto space, crypto-specific PACs, to specific candidates. And number two, I think at a certain point, right, we cannot continue this stalemate. At the end of the day, this is an important geopolitical issue as well. We see strides being made in other parts of the world that do have clearer guidance. We see economic activity flowing there. So at some point, I do think this becomes a matter of national interest, a matter of economic interest, to ensure that America remains competitive.
Meltem, we only have about a minute left, but you just mentioned the stalemate in terms of policy. It also feels like we're at a little bit of a stalemate in terms of actual activity in crypto markets. What are you seeing?
Apathy, we're trading sideways. At the end of the day, what we look at Coinshares is flows. If we look at flows into crypto products that are publicly listed and publicly traded this year, as of about 2 weeks ago, we saw about $750 million of inflows on the year. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen outflows as a result of investors taking profit. And really, we're still very much in a risk-off environment. At the end of the day, the story is all about flows. You have to look at the data, you have to look at the numbers. And right now, the flows are telling the story that investors are taking risk off the table. We're looking to see what's going to happen in the next FOMC meeting and what the macro environment looks like ahead. And I think only then will we see more flows.